Guys and girls, this is the Prussian Prince winner Total War Attila tournament match, and this is going to be the first Agartha Flash Clash tournament, hosted by Agartha, obviously. This is the Agartha Flash Clash tournament, and this tournament has an interesting amount of some interesting rules. For instance, max 4 heavy cavalry that you can bring, and also skirmish cap is not part of the cavalry max. The cavalry max is 6. That's another interesting rule. And there's max 4 of the same unit, not the standard 6. So you can't bring like 6 Huskals, but actually you can mix Huskals and Royal Huskals anyway, and you still get 6 or more. So that is something to keep in mind. But you cannot get, for instance, a 6 Nordic Horse Lords or 6 Royal Lancers. You cannot do that. But anyway, this is the first round match. Actually, this is the round of 32 match between Antiox of IG playing as the Huns and Ro32 of VM in command of the elements. So I'm going to put it in slow motion and go over Antiox's build, who is playing again as the Huns. For him, we have the general over here, the Steppe Chieftain with Brace. In terms of cavalry contingent, well, we have a mix of elite Hunnic Lancers and Noble Steppe Cataphracts. Looks like on the right flank we have 1 Noble Steppe Cataphract with 2 elite Hunnic Lancers. On the left we have an elite Hunnic Lancer with a Noble Steppe Cataphract. And finally on the right we have 2 Steppe mounted bows, because you can bring extra skirmish cavalry. It's not part of the limit. Now for the elements who are being played by for attack, we already see an interesting unit in the far back. It is this this Germanic Raider, very light skirmish cav. Could do a lot of damage. We'll see. Gonna have to keep an eye on it. But for the rest of his contingent, well, he has his Germanic Noble General over here with the Warcry ability. Then for the rest of his forces, on the left we see a Germanic Lancer supporting 2 Noble Germanic Horsemen, and on the right 2 Noble Germanic Horsemen supporting a Germanic Lancer. Let's see, infantry contingent, well, 2 Bejeweled Nobles, bronze 1 on the left. Actually make that one of them bronze 1, my bad. On the right we see 2 Bejeweled Nobles as well, and in the center 3 Protectores Defectors. And all the way in the back, next to his general, we have an extra Bejeweled Noble. So this build is just, of course, very interesting, but honestly, like, it's gonna be very hard to beat the Huns with this, because the Huns have, like, what was it, 4 War Warriors? Yeah. These 2 War Warriors on the right are silver 1, and then these 2 on the left, 1 silver 1, 1 bronze 3. And up front we have the 3 Bosphorus Warriors. Is it all? No, it's not. 2 Bosphorus Warriors and the Bosphorus Infantry. My bad. And then of course the 4 Steppe Bows, which, I mean, no skirmish for the elements, while the Huns have both foot skirmishers and cav skirmishers. So it's just gonna be so difficult. On top of that, the infantry of the Huns far stronger than that of the elements because of those oars. And to make matters even worse, these shock cav units, the Noble Steppe Cataphracts in particular, will do so much damage to the cavalry of the elements. To make things worse, the elements don't have any offensive infantry unit that they can bring. So yeah, good luck to the elements here, but we'll see. The elements have, however, shown an extra Germanic Raider unit over here. It's going after the Steppe mounted bows. It's doing a lot of damage to it with its javelins, but have to be careful because the javelins are going to be wasted soon. So, I mean, I wonder if this is going to be effective to kill this unit. But then looks like the Germanic Raiders might actually end up dying here, but very well done with the javelins. I mean, at least they're wasting some ammo of the Steppe mounted bows, and even killing them is not maybe not the best trade. They probably want to shoot at the Ors or the Cav, but oh, well, now this is a waste though. This is a huge waste with the Germanic Raiders. There's an engagement over here. Clearly did not go well for the elements at all. The elite Hunnic Lancers just destroyed the Germanic Raiders over there. I don't know what the elements are doing here. Germanic Lancers already going forward for these Ors, but you know what? These units are a bit out of position, so they could not support. So the Germanic Lancer is doing very well against the Ors here, but now they're just going to die. They're going to disintegrate these units. Oh, a mistake here by the Huns, though, getting their Ors charged This is not good. They're going to take significant damage. Though, of course, the Noble Germanic Horseman is going to die. But that was not the best charge, it seems. It did not kill so many Ors. More engagements over here. Well, we know who's going to win between Germanic Lancers and Noble Steppe Cataphracts. Germanic Lancers, half of them dying on the charge, of course. And over here, these Steppe Bows got charged, but doesn't matter because the Elite Hunnic Lancers got their charge off on the Noble Germanic. Protectorist Defectors getting charged by the Elite Hunnic Lancers. These Wars here and Bosphorus Warriors can support, but these guys need to get an attack or to get a charge on the Bejeweled Nobles. Steppe Chieftain could actually go for all these Protectorist Defectors and do significant damage if they were to charge, because there's not infantry here for the elements. These Elite Hunnic Lancers just going to end up dying though. Noble Steppe Cataphracts here going to go for the Noble Germanic Horsemen. And here the Elite Hunnic Lancers pushing through, and now they're going to pull out and go for some rear charges. Perhaps targeting the General of the Elements, or perhaps just going for the Bejeweled Nobles, we'll see. Here this charge is massive by the Huns, but it actually does not do as much damage as I expected, but never mind, it is now doing the damage. But Noble Germanic Horsemen should actually win in prolonged fight, because there were a lot of them to begin with. 60 of them. This Ur is going to get charged and routed off the field, it's important. But the Hun General is now engaged in melee, and that could be troublesome. That could be very troublesome. This Steppe-mounted bow is being wasted. And these Elite Hunnic Lancers need to get the charges off that they need to kill all these routing element units. Or not routing, but yeah, as you can see here, the Noble Steppe Cataphract is going to end up losing to these Noble Germanic Horsemen. Because yeah, the charge was fairly good, but there were not as many in the beginning, so the charge was not as strong, and they already took HP damage from previous engagements. Whereas the Noble Germanic Horseman was in much better shape. Looks like these Germanic Lancers tried to get into these archers, but that was not a good idea because they just got destroyed cost ineffectively. But here the Elite Hunnic Lancers pushing forward, they're going to kill these Noble Germanic Horsemen. However, the Noble Steppe Cataphracts here getting wrecked by Noble Germanic Horsemen. Nice charge here into the rear of these Noble Germanic Horsemen. Might actually rout them, but they're not dying. Now they will pull out, so they're going to die and rout off the field. Yeah, not sure why this unit is being pulled out, because now it's just going to end up losing. However, the elements pushing through here with very nicely with their Protectorist Defectors and their units. But the element general is... it might die. It's down to 46 engaging this Elite Hunnic Lancer. But the Elite Hunnic Lancer just routes off the field, so yeah. This Noble Germanic Horseman is got freely charged on by the General of the Huns. That is not good for the elements.
Our men run from the enemy. This is shameful.
Steppe Bows here are actually wasting fire arrows onto these Protectorist Defectors. This is not good because let's look at the armor of the Protectorist Defectors. It's 60 armor and 147 health. If anything, heavy shots should be used on these Steppe Bows, especially as they're starting to run out of ammo. But here the Bejeweled Nobles holding on, but now they're routed. Noble Germanic Horsemen here getting an excellent charge on the Urs, but I think that now after they got their charge, they're just going to end up dying very quickly once they pull out. And so I don't think that's actually a good trade for the elements. Indeed, it is not. So he kind of wasted that cab unit that he desperately needed. He needed it to mess up this flank and such. But these Bejeweled Protectorist Defectors and other infantry units for the elements are pushing through nicely. We still have this Steppe Chieftain unit for the Huns, but I don't know why the Huns are not going for this Germanic Noble General with the Steppe Chieftain. It just doesn't make much sense, because this unit is just going to die to these three. This is a mistake by the Huns for sure. I mean, not supporting... I mean, they could have been around here with the Steppe Chieftain, rear charge the Germanic Nobles, and could have been GG, because just 44 Germanic Nobles left. Here though, the Protectorist Defectors, did they just get rear charged by Bosphorus Warriors? Probably they did, but they should still end up winning that fight just because of how many they are.
Our men have given up and are running for their lives.
But here, as you can see, it was a mistake for the Huns to leave this area without the Steppe Chieftain. It was not good. I mean, they could have just... The Steppe Chieftain not only could have destroyed the single Protectorist Defectors, like pin it from the front with Bosphorus Warriors, then go around and rear charge with the Steppe Chieftain. That's a dead Protectorist Defectors. Not only could that have happened, but also the Germanic Noble General could have been just simply charged by the Steppe Chieftain, and once the charge happened, just pull out with the Steppe Chieftain, because not the Germanic Noble if not dead, it would have been down to like, I don't know, single digits or like maybe 10-20 men, and pulling out would not mean that you'd take a lot of damage against that, and you probably would just knock down the Germanic nobles anyway after charging, just because there's so few and not really gonna be braced most likely. So yeah, here the charge by the Steppe Chieftain. This is not the best charge, and now it looks like he's going to pull out of this engagement, so the losses are gonna be huge. So that didn't seem like they got the best charge against these Protectores. That was not good for the Huns. I mean, just should have. Still, the best move would have been to snipe the Germanic nobles general of the elements with the Steppe Chieftain. I just don't see any other good move here. These war warriors though are gonna do significant damage, but they don't have the proper attack, or I don't know what they're doing here. This is okay. So they lost a ton of men just because they were kind of pulling through. That was not good for the wars at all. But now the Germanic nobles here being targeted. Still with flaming shot though. Still with flaming shot. So the damage is not as high as it could be. But with flaming, they might rout quicker. We will see though. The thing is, it's not about routing. It's just about killing the general, which is most important. But okay, he's routed. He's shattered. So that's not bad. But still needs to focus. Oh, he wasted a few more volleys. But now he definitely needs to go full heavy shot on his units if he wants to do the damage. And indeed, Steppos do have heavy shot, which they should be using right now because these units are all super heavily armored, and it's late game where ammo is scarce. So better just be as effective as you can with your ammo. So now it looks like the Steppe Chieftain is going to come around and rear charge these Bejeweled nobles, but this could be a mistake, because the Steppe Chieftain is very low in numbers, and it's not going to kill enough of these Bejeweled nobles on the charge, I think. Well, actually, it's killing a lot, but as you can see here, it's going to waver, and it might actually end up routing. Let's look at the morale. Ooh, the Steppe Chieftain is routed off the field. So that was a huge mistake by the Huns, just sending that unit like that. It means that these Bosphorus infantry and the oars are not going to do well. And the flaming shot is not a good idea in this blob, because it means that because of friendly fire, the Hunnic units might actually lose and rout. This is not good. He might be routing his own units. As you can see here, these oars here routed off the field. That is not good. Just 33 oars would have been so cost effective against these Bejeweled. And now more flaming arrows coming in, which means more of this unit could also rout. He could also rout a second warrior unit. And if he does that, it would be insane if he routes his own unit. Oh, and it does rout off the field because of the friendly fire. Steppo is gonna come in right now. Again, no heavy shot. And with flaming, he just routes his own units, the friendly fire. This is not good at all for the Huns. Wow, 7 morale for this Bosphorus infantry. 7 morale, 3 morale. Imagine if this Bosphorus infantry just routed off the field right now. If it had minus morale, which would be very easy, this would have been an element game. But now it's up to 10 morale. 22 morale, okay. So that's how it is, but how is it gaining morale? That doesn't make sense. Now 25 morale. Because all these Steppos are just going to rout off the field. So I just don't understand how it's actually gaining the morale. And now it's up to 32. How is it working? Because now these Steppos will rout next. That's certain. The Bejeweled nobles still hanging on here, but I don't know why they were not in shield wall though. Because if they were in shield wall, I think this engagement would have gone insanely well for the elements, to be fair. Steppos here are going to rout soon, and this means it's going to be... Ooh, Steppos pulling out, which means that's going to be really bad. Still very close in terms of morale, but in terms of numbers, not close at all. These Bosphorus infantry doubling the numbers of the Bejeweled nobles, but such a close game. Such a close game between the Huns and the elements here. Very, very close. Bejeweled nobles here doing so much work, tanking a lot of the Bosphorus infantry. I mean, this is just insane. But clearly the Bosphorus will win this fight, but I mean, it came down to this. I mean, this boss front infantry at some point was at 3 morale. 3 morale. If it had just a little bit less morale, it would have routed off the field, and it would have been a clear victory for the elements because of that. But it was not to be. It was not to be. And because of this, looks like, ooh, what is this? Oh no, it's the same unit, but I don't know why the unit is over there. This makes sense because there's no unit here. So why is it there? Huh, that's strange. Oh well, looks like Antiox is gonna take a very close game against Attack here. But well done with his cavalry though, as you can see here. Some of his cavalry units, the elite Hunnic Lancers, a significant amount of kills. His general got a good amount too, and look at this war, 344 kills. As for the elements here, some Bejeweled doing insane, Noble Germanic Horsemen doing very well for themselves, Germanic Raiders, kind of wasted I guess. Especially the one on the left flank of Antiox was wasted in the beginning. I think it charged an elite Hunnic Lancer or something like that. But yeah, that is game. So hope you all enjoyed. If you want to see more, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. Share the video, and I shall see you next time.